Ignore the countdown. The countdown's wrong. The countdown is wrong. We're gonna play a promo, and we're gonna do something cool.
Do you mind if I read the stage directions?
For sure.
That's lovely. Behold, the sparkliest, happiest, Christmassiest kitchen ever dreamt up by the Hallmark Channel. Go on, picture it. Now double what you imagine. Now you've got it. This is either a dream or a nightmare, but either way, you should be smiling.
Wait, there's going to be 2 Santas?
There's going to be one Santa, Bill. He's kind of an asshole, but he looks like Santa.
Or,
You're Tiffany's boyfriend?
in as much as any soul can belong to another, I suppose. I'm her husband. Yeah, this is awkward. I am actually Santa.
I'm Santa. I was hired to be here, which makes me Santa.
You look like Gandalf, man.
Exactly.
The day is November 11th, 2021. It is Armistice Day. And of course, the Earth is in retrograde, and these are some strange times indeed. I've got to say right off the bat, this was not the music I intended to play. I checked that it was too late on the record tonight. But here we are, Armistice Day, November 11th, 2021, and as I said, these are some strange times indeed. You are watching Strange Times Indeed, an exploration of the bizarre, the unexplained, ghosts, extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings. We hear about them all here on this program. Yes, that's right. This, our triumphant return to broadcasting following our very first live show at Maryland Ensemble Theater's Met Comedy Night. It was an incredible night of programming, and if you missed it, you can find it on our Instagram page. Hit the link tree there. It's irrelevant. Watch it at your own time. We are returning triumphant. The most incredible live show, the most incredible Halloween mask that ever was yet. So far, who knows what will happen next year, next Halloween. My goodness, and of course, Stephen returning to us this evening. Stephen has been working very, very hard the last month, and now he's here so we can resume taking calls just like the golden era of the show. We know those of you at home have been waiting with bated breath, your stories on the tips of your tongues. There you are, sitting in your own home, wondering to yourself, when will I get to share my experiences with the czar of the bizarre? Well, tonight is your opportunity. Tonight is your chance. The call lines are going to be up. We are going to hear from you, the viewer. What have you experienced that you just can't explain? That is what we explore here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. That is what we do here every week. We listen to the people to hear what things can't be explained, to normalize the experience of sharing your unexplained stories, your unexplained encounters. They happen every day. Earth is in retrograde. These are the bizarre times. And here we are, ready to open the phone lines, ready to hear from the viewers. But first, we must get into our very top stories. That's right. Strange things are happening all the time, all over the globe, all over the world. And so, as we dutifully take calls every week, we also dutifully report the news, extraterrestrial or otherwise, right here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Our first news story comes from the Bigelow Institute for Consciousness Studies. This was the institute founded by Robert Bigelow, the former owner of the Skinwalker Ranch. He performed wild scientific experiments to see just how thin the veil between our realities are there. And now he's formed the Bigelow Institute for Consciousness Studies after his wife's passing in an attempt to find proof, absolute evidence of life after death and the continuation of our own consciousness into the world beyond. After all, each and every one of us have been on this plane of existence for hundreds of years unknowingly. It all just keeps going, but here we go. Robert Bigelow has rewarded the top winners, the top award-winning reporters, scientists, explorers who have been working to find evidence of life after death. The top prize went to Jeffrey Mishlove, PhD, and his presentation was entitled Beyond the Brain, the Survival of Human Consciousness After Permanent Bodily Death. Mishlove's evidence included video snippets and testimonies regarding near-death experiences, reincarnation cases documented by memories of past lives, and 7 other types of evidence that consciousness survives physical death, according to a report from Mystery Wire. Mishlove received his PhD in parapsychology from the University of California, Berkeley in 1980. He has the only doctoral diploma in parapsychology that was ever awarded by an accredited university. He currently teaches the subject at the Holmes Institute for Ministers in Training with the Centers for Spiritual Living. So good for him. Congratulations. Now, the Robert Bigelow, the Bigelow Institute, they put their money towards the research because they do not put it towards their web design. But the awards have been handed out. You can find the full list of winners at bigelowinstitute.org. And they have said that shortly, within the next 2 weeks, they will be releasing these essays out to the public. So these studies that they have then funded and rewarded will be given out to the people so that we may also examine this evidence of life after death. And we'll be looking into that in the future, that's for sure. Thumbs up for saving money on web design.
Just keep doing research.
I was thinking that we need our own website for the show at some point. Everybody has a website. You got to have your own website. We've got a Patreon, but like we should have a little website. And I thought if it would be perfect if GeoCities were still around. No type of web design is more suited to our show than the very simple HTML work that won the GeoCities universe. A little web design chat, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later.
We should definitely save money on the web design though somehow, because I was thumbs upping that hard. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we're gonna do. It's about the content. That's what people are looking for.
It's about the information.
Yes.
The information.
Moving into our next story, not as dark as the music would imply, but here's where it's coming from. This is a tale out of New Zealand. A couple in New Zealand, a lovely farming couple, has been spending their time growing plants when they have discovered in their very own garden a 17-kilogram potato. The largest potato recorded on record. And it must beg the question, are we approaching a dangerous new era of megaflora? Not megafauna, no. Plants, larger than plants were ever intended to be. Vegetables of incredible sizes. Are they mutating? Could it be? Stephen, let's roll the clip. Let's hear what these people have to say.
Rolling the clip.
Nope, that's the wrong one.
I got the fork and jabbed into it and hoiked it out of the ground and holy snapping turtle teeth. What's going on here? What is it?
The Tyrannosaurus Tatey needed a taste test to determine exactly what it was.
I said to Donna, no, it's a potato. Yeah. And she went, no. I said, yeah, it is.
a potato of incredible size.
Wait,
Now,
we gotta listen to this again. Oh my gosh. The first thing the dude says, I can't even remember what it was. And then the Tyrannosaurus tate or whatever, the way they describe this thing, we gotta go for it. Yes, put your potatoes in the chat. Let's see those potatoes. You can simply copy and paste Barefootin' 52's post. And we gotta listen to this again.
Sure.
I got the fork and jabbed into it and hoiked it out of the ground and holy snapping turtle teeth. What's going on here? What is it?
The Tyrannosaurus tate needed a taste test to determine exactly what it was.
I said to Donna, I said, no, that's a potato. Yeah. And she went, no. I said, yeah, it is.
Holy snapping tater teeth.
It's a Tyrannosaurus-sized tatey.
That was wonderful. That was so great.
But is it not concerning? Our planet, our plants, within our planet, our very own planet, is shifting and evolving, and our own potatoes are now growing to immense sizes. Could it be that as Earth itself is in retrograde, we may soon learn, perhaps, as the climate heats up and things get toasty, and things get a little baked, that Earth is no more than a giant potato? Strange times indeed. I would not be surprised to hear news such as this further down the line. Our next story, coming out of Montpellier, France. There has been a UFO sighting in France, a cigarette-shaped UFO in France. Steven, let's roll the clip. Let's roll that UFO clip from France. Look at this. This is cigar-shaped. It is like the cigarette god. The god of cigarettes has come to bless us. Oh, sucker. Look at that in the sky. But there it is. Now, many people had seen this. This was really a story that has been gaining traction here, and you can see it maintains this shape. It is just one solitary line. And so this is sighted in France. And I think we have the video looping, but what you can kind of catch is at the end, it almost seems to start coming towards the area where that guy is. It moves very quickly back over them. Multiple witnesses, an incredible UFO sighting out of France. An incredible UFO sighting from Montpellier. Could it be the extraterrestrials are visiting, watching us, keeping eyes on us, in hopes that things may calm down enough that they can visit, that they feel that them coming to visit us won't mean the end of an entire civilization because we're too reactionary and too drawn to war. Steven, you can take the video down.
Before I take the video down, I noticed there's like it kind of spins at a point too. It's not. It's like going what appears to be off to the right, but then like at some point it looks like it's spinning some, where like the oblong shape like becomes vertical and back oblong again. Like at some point, it's really interesting. Like right there, did you see it spinning?
Yes,
it's spinning.
Yes. Ooh,
it's spinning.
Like what is happening there?
It must, because you said it had to come closer to them. Maybe
no terrestrial crafts move like this.
It changed direction, like it spins and changed direction, even though it was heading like aerodynamically in a straight direction, like as an oblong thing. But then it just starts going. Wow!
And this is an event that had multiple witnesses. It was seen in similar areas. This has been picking up steam over in Europe, and now this news is just hitting over here. But look at that. Incredible, incredible footage out of France. Our final news story coming to us from Heinz Ketchup. That's right. Heinz Ketchup. We're pulling up their press release here because it doesn't get any better than that. Heinz creates Martian tomato ketchup with Aldrin Space Institute. Here's the big deal coming out of Pittsburgh, folks. Heinz has embarked on a mission to ensure fresh, tasty food for future generations by partnering with astrobiologists to discover how to grow premium quality ketchup tomatoes in harsh environmental conditions such as those found on Mars. Today, the brand unveiled its first bottle of Heinz Tomato Ketchup Mars Edition, made with delicious tomatoes grown by recreating similar soil temperature and water conditions on Earth to those found on the Red Planet. Through the collaboration with a 14-person astrobiology team over 9 months at the Aldrin Space Institute in Florida Tech, Heinz simulated growing tomatoes on Mars. The team successfully yielded a crop of Heinz tomatoes from the brand's proprietary tomato seeds with the exacting qualities that pass the rigorous quality and taste standards to become its iconic ketchup. For generations, Heinz has helped people find magic ways to For generations, Heinz has helped people find magic in everyday moments that brings families together and has now discovered how to provide delicious Heinz tomato ketchup families know and love for the next 150 years and beyond. No matter what happens on Mars or our planet, we will be able to continue growing Heinz tomato ketchup. 2 years ago, Heinz and its tomato masters set out to successfully launch the first of its kind experiment that has become one of the largest projects of its kind related to Mars ever conducted. Experts in analyzing difficult soil conditions, picking the perfect seeds, and implementing world-leading agricultural techniques played a crucial role in ensuring the unmistakable taste of Heinz tomato ketchup. Although Heinz Tomato Ketchup Mars Edition bottles are not available for purchase, a batch of out-of-this-world ketchup was unveiled at Heinz HQ, where the experimental sauce has undergone rigorous quality testing to get an all-important green light to become certified bottles of Heinz Tomato Ketchup. We're so excited that our team of experts has been able to grow tomatoes in conditions found on another planet and share our creations with the world. From analyzing the soil from Martian conditions 2 years ago to harvesting now, it's been a journey that has proved wherever we end up, Heinz Tomato Ketchup will still be enjoyed for generations to come, says Christina Kenz, Chief Growth Officer for Kraft Heinz International Zone. The team at Aldrin Space Institute, led by Dr. Andrew Palmer, has submitted the first of 3 papers for scientific publication that charts the mission. Before now, most efforts around discovering ways to grow in Martian simulated conditions are short-term plant growth studies. What this project has done is look at long-term food harvesting. Achieving a crop that is of a quality to become Heinz tomato ketchup was the dream result, and we achieved it. And working with the tomato masters at Heinz has allowed us to see what the possibilities are for long-term food production beyond Earth, says Dr. Andrew Palmer of the Aldrin Space Institute. Heinz tomato ketchup is already made it beyond Earth into our solar system and has been enjoyed by astronauts aboard the International Space Station for many years, one of whom is former NASA astronaut and professor of mechanical engineering, Mike Masimono. Yes, that was right. Mike Masimono, a veteran of 2 space flights, 4 spacewalks, and the first astronaut to ever tweet from space, Masimono serves as an ambassador of Heinz Tomato Ketchup Mars Edition and is a self-confessed Heinz Tomato Ketchup superfan. He says, "In space, we have a saying, it's not about the food, it's about the sauce. We could choose what food we wanted to eat up there, but a lot of dishes came dehydrated and are a little bit bland, so a good dollop of sauce always made your meals delicious," which started my love for Heinz Tomato Ketchup. In addition to studying how to grow tomatoes in Mars-like conditions, the Kraft Heinz company continues to invest in its commitments to environmental social governance. goals, including using 100% sustainably sourced Heinz tomato ketchup tomatoes in 2025, by 2025. To learn more, visit their website. You say the ketchup, and I say the ketchup, and it's all going to be coming from Mars. We're going to be having Mars is only going to get redder from here, folks, as fields of Heinz tomato ketchup potatoes. Tomatoes are grown in space. Heinz, get into the potato game, please, for the sake of this broadcast.
Well, we just had a potato story, and now we're having a tomato story.
And a tomato night.
Yeah, there's a lot of tomatoes going on in this broadcast.
The potatoes are taking over Earth, and the tomatoes are taking over Mars.
I think it's so wild that the slogan is, or what, midway through when I popped in, it was like, for whatever happens, there'll still be ketchup or whatever. And it's like, wow, we're so preserving of our brand that we're looking ahead to growing tomatoes on Mars and producing this sauce for you. This is Heinz is going to be around longer than our potential grandchildren.
Well, and here's what they're saying too is wherever we are, which is a subtly bleak statement.
Yes.
And what it means is by doing this, Heinz has really secured the science to grow their specific tomatoes on the field. Like they have tested it specifically for seeds that are designed to grow the tomatoes that they use for Heinz ketchup. It's most likely seeds that have been engineered in some way. And so when we get to go up to space, or more so, if we outlive the planet, when Jeff Bezos is on the space colony of the last human beings going out into space, they'll be eating Heinz tomato ketchup grown from those.
Literally, like, it goes with every meal. Like, that's the only sauce you have, maybe. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, you want to eat some space rocks with ketchup?
It's you know, and it's perfect. It pairs very well with just about everything on the red planet.
Yeah, I could imagine.
But they're going to refill. They're going to refill the river basins on Mars.
You know what would be perfect?
Tomato ketchup.
It'd be perfect if the aliens that we may encounter, if anyone that we meet on, you know,
the Martians, if they are on Mars,
on our space adventures, if they happen to like Heinz tomato ketchup, that would be perfect. Because, like, you know, we could just farm away right there. We got a whole planet to make ketchup.
And then Heinz is the most agreeable ketchup.
Why wouldn't Martians love it?
If you are watching tonight, if you're one of our viewers and you prefer another ketchup to Heinz,
name it.
Comment in the chat. What is that?
But what's the name of that ketchup? I haven't heard of it, but you can name it.
Because it's not Heinz tomato ketchup, that's for sure. Matt Damon put ketchup on tomatoes. He grew on Mars on The Martian.
That's in a movie. Oh, okay. Wow.
He put ketchup on the tomatoes?
Wow.
That's kind of a hat on a hat thing, but I suppose.
That's brilliant.
Maybe he wouldn't be stuck on Mars if he wasn't just doing tomato on tomato. But maybe that's all they can figure out to grow. Here's a question for those of you at home, because I can never quite remember. Are tomatoes really hard to grow?
Oops, potato.
Okay, there you go.
You put ketchup on the potato.
It's you know, and that's speculative fiction for you there. We've got massive potatoes here on Earth. 17-kilogram potatoes coming out of New Zealand, taking over the Earth, if not the whole Earth itself, becoming a potato in a way. And we've got ketchup for Mars now. We're going to be growing tomatoes on Mars in the harsh Mars conditions. Now, I'm curious to know if that study replicated the weather patterns on Mars, the dust storms and the wind storms. Are these tomatoes engineered that they can survive that kind of thing, or is it going to be in a contained space? I guess there's probably going to be some air involved, so probably a contained space. I just like to picture fields of tomatoes out on Mars. Well, that's it for our top stories tonight. We're going to be taking phone calls after the break. So if you have experienced anything strange, anything you can't quite explain, ghosts, extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings, here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, we take your calls to hear about whatever weirdness is going out in the world that cannot be explained. If you have witnessed the bizarre, the unknowable, we want to hear from you. This is a safe place to share your story, so please come and join us right here. Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Well, I don't know. They don't pay us for this program, so technically not. But a word from our wonderful, wonderful people. Steven, let's roll that clip. Let's go to break.
That's lovely. Behold, the sparkliest, happiest, Christmasiest kitchen ever dreamt up by the Hallmark Channel. Go on, picture it. Now double what you imagine. Now you've got it. This is either a dream or a nightmare, but either way, you should be smiling.
Wait, there's going to be 2 Santas?
There's going to be one Santa, Bill. He's kind of an asshole, but he looks like Santa.
Or
You're Tiffany's boyfriend?
in as much as any soul can belong to another, I suppose. I'm her husband. Yeah, this is awkward. I am actually Santa.
I'm Santa. I was hired to be here, which makes me Santa.
You look like Gandalf, man.
Exactly.
Fork and jabbed into it and hoiked it out of the ground and holy snapping turtle teeth. What's going on here?
Give it on.
Regardless.
Okay.
Oh. Holy
I
snap
figured I
and
thought
toodle
we'd just
teeth.
roll with it.
That was what he said. Holy snap and toodle teeth.
Holy snapping turtle teeth. We've got ourselves a 17-kilogram potato down here in New Zealand.
Oh man.
I will do a French accent, but I will not do a New Zealand one because they're naturally funnier than the rest of us down there. I don't know what it is. Welcome back, one and all. Today, it's November 11th, 2021. Earth is in retrograde. It is slowly turning into a potato. Today is Armistice Day, and these are some strange times. Whoa. Today is let's just take that from the beginning. Everyone pretend you never saw that. Pretend it wasn't live. It's November 11th, 2021. Today is Armistice Day. The Earth is in retrograde, slowly turning into a potato. And you are watching Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, the czar of the bizarre, right here. Every week, we take your calls to hear about the strange, the unexplained, ghosts, cryptids, extraterrestrials. If you can't name it, we want to hear about it. So we open the Zoom line every week, especially this. We've been off for a month. We've been doing the show, but the Zoom line has not been open. No. We've been painting pumpkins and preparing for Halloween night. And I'm sure all of you experiencing your no-call October are jumping and itching at the bits to share your experiences with the unexplained. So, Stephen, let's go ahead and put the call link there in the chat for any new viewers who have not seen it. And let's see if anybody feels compelled to share their experiences with us tonight. Stephen, you just recently unveiled a new program here on the Met Comedy Night Twitch page, the Lonely campaign that you've been doing with your brother. Are you doing that this weekend as well?
Wow. We did debut this and it's been really exciting, finally working creatively with my brother after being long distance with my sibling for such a long time. We're thinking we might do it like once a month.
All right.
He's a trucker who doesn't have a very regular schedule. And I don't have a very regular schedule either. And I think, yeah, so we did the November show. This was Sunday. 4 days ago Sunday. So, maybe it'll be early in December on a Saturday or Sunday, the first or second weekend or so for the second rendition. Hey, you know what? I'm so glad that he's finally decided to do D&D by himself because no one wanted to play with him anymore.
And now he's
Now
figured out a way to make it work. So, folks, if you've enjoyed Steven's antics here, make sure you check out the Lonely campaign happening sometime in early December. It's going to be happening once a month. You can follow Met Comedy Night on the Instagram. The links are on the bottom of the page, right below Steven there. So be sure to check that out. And also happening next Friday, Crit! The D&D Improv Show is going to be performing live at Maryland Ensemble Theater, the same location as Halloween Mass, bringing their incredible D&D themed improv show right back to downtown Frederick in person. So you can get your tickets, marylandensemble.org/comedy night. Be sure to check that out and go see some fun improv right here in downtown Frederick. Support the arts, support the local theaters. All right, the phone lines are open. We're hoping to get some callers tonight, people chomping at the bits to share. Here on Armistice Day, a day in which everything stops for just a minute, and everyone puts their guns down, and peace reigns across the land for a full minute, and it might just be that a minute later the war continues. I like to think there's some symbolism to Armistice Day that we have lost in the transition to calling it Veterans Day. And it's that ideology that at one day the fighting might be over, and that at a certain point we can stop killing each other to get our point across, or to maintain a monopoly on oil, or whatever it is that we seem to be going to war for these days. We've lost the intentionality of wanting to end the horrible thing that we do to each other. And instead we just kind of say thank you, and we keep doing it. If you want to thank a veteran, if you want to thank them for their hard work so that they never have to go out and die again, or they never have to go out and witness the deaths of those closest to them, or people who are not even involved in the war, who get swept up in all the carnage and chaos. Every week we try to end war on this show, or at the very least it's one of the goals of the program. And Armistice Day is all about that. What I'm holding up here, of course, a book written by a veteran himself, Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. Here's what he had to say about Armistice Day. I will come to a time in my backwards trip when November 11th, accidentally my birthday, was a sacred day called Armistice Day. When I was a boy, and when Dwayne Hoover was a boy, all the people of all the nations which had fought in the First World War were silent during the 11 minutes of the 11th hour of Armistice Day, which was the 11th day of the 11th month. It was during that minute, in 1918, that millions upon millions of human beings stopped butchering one another. I have talked to old men who were on the battlefields during that minute. They have told me, in one way or another, that the sudden silence was the voice of God. So we still have among us some men who can remember when God spoke clearly to mankind. Armistice Day has become Veterans Day. Armistice Day was sacred, Veterans Day is not, so I will throw Veterans Day over my shoulder. Armistice Day I will keep. I don't want to throw away any sacred things. What else is sacred? Oh, Romeo and Juliet, for instance. And all music is. I think Kurt probably channeled that music into that reading at the right time, I tell you what. Wherever he is, probably nowhere by his own set of beliefs, and good for him for that. no set is inherently superior to the other, but he seemed pretty sure of what he felt and did. Good for anyone who has that sort of certainty, whatever direction it is. Props to you. The explorers of the world beyond. Those who should submit studies to the Bigelow Institute for Consciousness Studies to see if there is afterlife beyond all of this. If when the wars are done fighting and the guns are put down, those who were the victims of all those terrible tragedies every year after year continue on in some form, or if they just simply cease to be because they happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh boy. Fighting wars they had no part in fighting, no means of really knowing what they were about at the time, sold a false bill of goods. Oh boy, but you know what? One day it will all be over, and we'll be eating our Heinz tomato ketchup on Mars. We'll be eating our Heinz tomato ketchup on Mars. It's also National Ice Cream Sundae Day. Well, oh my goodness. Well, now that's a missed opportunity. Next Armistice Day, it'll probably be a Friday, so I don't know if we'll do a show, but next Armistice Day, well, not only will we read that quote again, but we'll have ice cream sundaes on the show. Why not? A little ice cream sundae to end all wars. And you can stack it up like if you make a little ice cream mushroom cloud. If anyone is a ice cream loving fan art maker out there, I'd love to put that in a crazy fan art. Just picture it, if you will. The Strange Times Indeed mug. I'm painting a picture for you all with your mind. Here in the mug, and out of it, little scoops of ice cream. And the scoops grow higher and higher, making their way up out of the mug. And then at the top, they begin to cloud out scoops of different flavors. Vanilla, mint chocolate chip, cookie dough, chocolate, strawberry right at the heart, carrying on through. Peach. If those any fruit ice cream that has little frozen bits of fruit in it, like dehydrated astronaut food. And of course, as they have taught us in the world of space, you've got to have a good sauce. You've got to have a lake of hot fudge at the bottom of this mushroom cloud sundae. And there it is, the perfect Dr. Strangelove ending to the analogy, because what ends all war in a hyper on edge world, but the mass destruction of it all. And that's, if anything, that's the ultimate finale. That's all that war will eventually culminate in. If we can end it, we can save lives by just not fighting wars. We can put the funds that we put into war and put it into resources like helping the people, giving adequate care to the veterans of those wars, and adequate living situations so they're not out on the street. But we can also then divert those funds into healthcare for everyone. We can make housing a standard. We can end homelessness. If we focus on the positive changes we can make, instead of what we can change by bombing and killing other people, we can make this whole world a lot better for us. And we can put funds into a world where we all get ice cream sundaes every day. And it doesn't matter if you're slowly developing a dairy intolerance. No, ice cream for everyone. Ice cream designed for those who can't process dairy like they used to. Ice cream with all the dairy people want. Ice cream for everyone. We just have to stop giving money to folks like Lockheed Martin. We have to stop funding the war machine. And we can get ice cream for all human beings, all terrestrials on this planet. If you're an earthling or not, your ice cream sundae is coming to you. But we've got to end the wars. You are, of course, watching Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, an exploration of the strange and bizarre. The strange and bizarre, like a world without war. And boy, I like to think that a world without war is at some point coming our way. It's gotta be. It's gotta be in some way or another, but things gotta be some serious changes before that happens. Ugh. Anyway, that's why we focus on the strange and the bizarre here on the show. Because there are things out there that we can't explain, that are outside of the horrors of war and are instead unexplainable happenings. Ghosts, extraterrestrials, French, cigar-shaped UFOs in the sky, flying baguettes, spinning and moving. And there's no explanation for what it is, but multiple witnesses have cited it. And we've got decent enough video of it. Sacre bleu, something is out there. And we Derry can tell what it is. Is it extraterrestrials from beyond our world, or is it an advanced species from beneath our seas that has evolved there in secret for quite some time? And now are bringing their ships out of the water, bringing their ships to observe us, to keep an eye on us, the folks above, to see if it's safe to come out yet, or to see if we're still trying to kill each other all the time. But when we know peace, we will know peaceful coexistence with the extraterrestrials or the underwater ancients, whoever it is. We might be able to unlock that rift into another dimension that runs parallel to our own, and we might get the Earth out of the perpetual state of retrograde that it is in and get it back the way it once was, at a time when there was peace, whenever that was, oh so long ago. But we've been in retrograde for who knows how long, folks. But when we end all war and start looking at what we can do to fix this planet, we can get out of there and we can return to normalcy. But in the meantime, we must, as we are in a state of retrograde, enjoy the weird. We must bask in the weird. We must bask in all of the incredible, unknowable, unexplainable things that we can't quite put a name on. When you find yourself walking down the street at night, and in the forest ahead of you, you see two glowing eyes in the darkness. And you wonder to yourself, what is that? What is that thing looking at me? And it just hovers there behind the tree line, bright red glowing eyes. Is it the Mothman? Is it the Not Deer? Is it Braxy? And all of a sudden, this being that you can't quite explain walks out from the tree line, and it gives you a little wave with its big glowing eyes, and then it just walks past you, does not regard you in any way beyond that, and you can't explain it. What have you seen? What was that coming out of the tree line? Well, this is the place to share those stories. Every week on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, I, Cliff McCallister, the czar of the bizarre, open our phone lines to hear from you at home, the viewer. What have you experienced? What can you not explain? This is the place. This is the place where we take those calls to hear about the unexplainable and bizarre instances happening in our world every single day. Every single day. Somebody is having an experience that they can't explain, and this is the place to share those stories, a safe space to share those tales of unknowable with the czar of the bizarre, Cliff McCallister himself, itself, themselves, a gender fluid entity here to spread the good news of the unexplainable to all terrestrials right here. Thursdays at 9 o'clock on twitch.tv/MetComedyNight. This is your place. Weirdos of the world unite. For here we are, one and all, exploring the unexplained, exploring the bizarre. Every week, we gather in this spot, we open the Zoom lines, and we invite all of you at home to share the unknowable, the unexplainable, the truly bizarre. This is the place. This must be the place. Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, yes? Thursdays, 9 o'clock, right here. The only place to hear the incredible, the unexplainable, the bizarre! Oh, I thought that would keep going a little bit. I thought that was a little shorter. Folks, that is why we are here every week. Call in, share your stories, the unexplained, the bizarre. It's all here. Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. I am your host, Cliff McCallister, the czar of the bizarre. Thank you for tuning in. Well, I can't think of anywhere better to go than that. If let's give it one last bit. We've got the link in. If you've got a story to share, this is your last chance. This is your last chance, or we're gonna close the show a little early tonight. You see, every week on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, I, Cliff McCallister, the czar of the bizarre, take your calls to hear about these strange and unexplained ghosts, extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings. Steven, do we have a caller? Or you're just here? You're just here sharing the moment with us? You're running, you're ready. You are ready to take calls at any moment. That is why we have the most incredible tech crew here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. We could not run a program like this without your support. That's right, that's right. We are collecting funds, as always, to further our studies of the unexplained. You can support us at patreon.com/strangetimesindeed with Cliff McCallister. Once again, that is patreon.com/strangetimesindeed. That's the actual URL. It's shorter than the full one. Join us there, patreon.com/strangetimesindeed. Join our Discord, chat with us there, have all sorts of fun. And of course, if you have tips you want to send to us anonymously, maybe you're calling in, or maybe you want to call in, but you're a government employee and you've got some secret knowledge. Well, strangetipsindeed@gmail.com. That's the place to leak it.
Anonymous.
Freedom of information. Just submitted under we've got an open freedom of information request. If you work for the government and you have confidential, top secret knowledge about the unexplained and bizarre, this is our freedom of information request that you write into strangetipsindeed@gmail.com with that top secret information. And with all of that said, go ahead, follow us, Instagram.com/strangetimesindeed. I'm on Twitter at strangetipsindeed, but I'm trying to be on Twitter less for my mental health. But follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We've got all sorts of stuff there. Our producer, Kevin, shout out to him for whatever he does. And Stephen, of course, thank you for taking. Those of you who tuned in tonight, thank you so much for joining us on the show, commenting along in the chat. Thank you, one and all. They're okay. They're all right. And let's take the things off of my face. Thank you. And folks, of course, we'll be back next Thursday at 9 o'clock. And keep an eye on my Instagram feed, Strange Times Indeed. I've promised we are going to watch the whole Matrix trilogy before Matrix 4 comes out. I cannot wait for this film, and we've only watched the first one, so keep an eye out for November. We're going to be announcing when we're watching Matrix 2, and we're going to announce when we're watching Matrix 3. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, everybody. Keep an eye on that social media. Keep an eye right here for more programming on Met Comedy Night's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Met Comedy Night. Until then, thank you, Stephen. Thank you all. Support us on patreon.com/strangetimesindeed. And until next time, stay strange, terrestrials.